What was his primary goal in the early years of Mecca? What do you think? It is to build a front with front-line leaders. He knew that he had been sent as the last ambassador, not only to the Arabian Peninsula, but to the whole world. The land of Mecca is the first base from which the message is to be carried to the whole world. He knew he had to start there. He realized that the inevitable first task was to form a leadership team that understood and deeply believed in Islam's thought and ideas, that was running in their blood, and that could sacrifice anything, capable of sacrificing anything. The four leaders, Khalifa, who gave leadership in the later period, who led all the struggles, were trained during this period. In the same way, those who understood the message very well, and those who spread it, and those who made the law, were all created during this period. A message's victory always relies on those who carry it at the beginning stage. Are the early bearers qualified? Do they understand the message? Do they have leadership skills? Are they willing to sacrifice anything? Are they able to see the world beyond his own desires? That's why Muhammad focused on creating families, individuals with leadership skills above all else. It was his plan, not a dream. This can be seen just by looking at the Makkah period of the Prophet. No need for deep research. This is a common fact in the world. It may be an individual, it may be a family, it may be a company, it may be a country. Failure happens when you don't do it. Everything will be destroyed if it was wrong in first stage. Allah created a generation of people around his Nabi who were benchmarks in themselves. As I mentioned earlier, it was the will of Allah that Prophet Muhammad was to be the last of the messengers, and so it was necessary to create successors who would take the message onward. They were the Sahaba of Rasulullah, who he called the best generation. Prophet Muhammad had a task very different from any prophets and much more complex. The task of all the prophets before him was to get people to accept their message, so they had followers. The task of Prophet Muhammad, who was to be the last of the messengers of Allah and the seal of prophethood, was not only to convey his message, but to create a generation of people who would take his message onwards across the lands and down through the centuries until the end of time. So in short, other prophets created followers, while Prophet Muhammad created leaders. The first among them was his Khalifa Abu Bakr. How well he learned the lesson of leadership from his teacher, Prophet Muhammad, can be seen in his first action when Rasulullah passed away. Rasulullah's mission was not merely to convey his message, but to prepare a generation to take it forward from generation to generation. Abu Bakr led that generation. The most difficult duty for the leader is not to convince people to follow his directions, but to get them to dream his dream, to inspire people to devote themselves entirely to a goal that only he has true vision. Only when individuals give their all to the vision and they're willing to go above and beyond to realize it. In every sector, this is the hardest thing a leader can do.